going? Getting ready to go on tour?
Yes.
Do that?
These are great. I got 2 cups of coffee. We're just getting acknowledge this right now.
Okay.
I have an addiction, but it's a good one.
Daniel J. Gokey, are you ready to enter the Tower of Truth?
I'm not sure, but yes. I'm in front of a camera. Yes. Always yes. Tower of Truth, what does this mean?
Okay.
42, 30, 16, 10, 44.
So
numbers.
you're good at math, right? You have to...
No. No. Not at all.
Okay, so every single block, the number corresponds with the question on the magic clipboard here. Now, you have the choice to go as deep as you want.
Okay.
The higher the number, the deeper the question.
I'm gonna go with 40 since Noah, was he in the ark for 40 days, 40 nights? The Israelites were in the wilderness for 40 years. 40 seems to be like a good
40 is
number.
a good number. What life lesson did you learn the hard way?
The drift. This is out of Hebrews. The Bible talks about drifting in Hebrews too. Drifting happens when you don't realize. You don't realize that you drift. You don't realize you drift in your marriage. You don't realize you drift in your parenting. You don't realize you drift in your career. You don't realize you drift in your health. Drifting is the silent destroyer because it's unintentional. You don't even know that you're drifting, and you end up missing the mark. And that's what truly sin is. Sin is called missing the mark because the scriptures will talk about how we must hold these things close and remember these things. And when you don't remember and when you forget is when trouble happens. Drifting is, the opposite is being very intentional and hitting the target.
See what you go with this.
Let's
So we'll
do it.
try. Let's do this.
What if you break it the first time?
Oh my goodness.
Game over?
Yeah, it's I like to think that the Tower of Truth decides when the truth needs to end. So this or that, Coke or Pepsi?
Coke, but Mexican Coke with the real sugar. Yeah, I've never been a big fan of Pepsi, but maybe because they marketed to me really good with Coke. You know what I mean? Like, what are you?
Coke Zero.
Huh?
Do you ever drink Coke Zero?
With the fake sugar?
Yeah.
With like the chemical sugar? Yeah. With the aspartame?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, I have never done it.
No.
Can't say that I have.
One thing I like about you, Danny, is you go into what I like to call preacher mode. Really, do you feel that? Do you feel that? Like it's if the music career at some point ends, would you be a pastor of a church?
Boy, that's a big question. I do like the pastor. I do like meaning like being lead and lead, but that one, if the Lord would call me, I would do it. I would do it. But I think pastors have such a massive responsibility. And I'm like, the scriptures talk about don't take it lightly because you are held accountable. I'm like, yeah, probably not. But if the Lord wanted to. All right, so I'm going with number 3 since, number 3 seems to be the number I took on American Idol.
Oh.
Yeah.
Road trip or flight?
Oh, flight. By all means. Road trips wear me out. I just don't like driving. My grandma told me yesterday she drove to Alaska. I was like, Grandma, who does that? Well, she does that. 8,000-mile round trip, apparently. I would never do that or recommend it to anyone. But if you like that stuff, no condemnation. God made you special and unique. We'll pray for you.
All right, I'm gonna keep driving this bus forward here.
Yeah, don't drop it. 22.
Oh, look at that.
You're trying to get this interview over with me, aren't you? You're like, man, oops.
Favorite movie?
Avengers, and with all of them. They all kind of, Avengers are just like top notch. What's your favorite movie?
Oh my God. Well, I'm a Star Wars guy. I'm one of those guys. The nerdy.
You're a Star Wars guy?
Yeah.
I was just at Disney and did the Star Wars ride. Have you been on it yet?
Yes.
I mean, it's pretty awesome. My kids loved it.
That was a good one. That's a good
But
one.
I don't watch Star Wars movies, and I'm very sorry.
You never watched them or don't?
Parents wouldn't allow me at first, and then when I tried to watch it, when they started making a comeback in the early 2000s, I just had no interest.
So let's go Avengers then.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite Avenger?
Oh, Iron Man, of course. Is there any other Avenger that adds up?
I don't know if you ever would be compared to Robert Downey, but I don't know. You kind of have the...
I've been told that a lot.
Really?
I remember being 18 years old in Target, and it was like, and I lived in the Midwest, so it was like, oh my gosh, you look like that really cute. The Midwestern accent.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh yeah,
yeah,
you
sure.
look like
Yeah, sure.
Robert Downey Jr., yeah, eh? and this old lady, she practically kissed my cheek, and I'm thinking like this, like all pimple face and greasy, like, ma'am, get off me. I tell people he looks like me.
I wonder if he ever gets that. If people go up to him, you look like Danny Gokey.
You really think?
Oh yeah, you look like Danny
Oh
Gokey.
yeah. you think higher of me than most people do? We're gonna go deeper without making. All right, this is getting a little. Let me see if this one will move a little bit. No, that one's pretty tight. Let's boom the whole thing. Oh yeah, eh?
Oh yeah. That's right. I believe you can probably move any.
I'm just gonna go like this and
and-
cheat. Wait, this is not looking good. Okay, We're just putting that right back. I know I'm cheating on the Jenga rules, but all right, 10 seemed to be real easy. 10 for the 10 plagues. Remember, this is scripture, right?
All right, fill in the blank. I have an irrational fear of...
Insects. I hate bugs.
There's a lot of bugs down here in the South.
Ticks. Let's just talk ticks for a minute. You don't have that issue in Minneapolis, do you?
No, we have ticks. We have ticks.
Just not to the level here. Like,
No,
I can walk in I have about 10 acres of woods. I can walk in there and walk out just fully covered in ticks.
Oh.
It's pretty bad.
And then do you worry all night that they're in your hair and stuff? Like once you see one tick.
I woke up one morning and a couple days I kept feeling this little bump on the back of my son's head. You know, kids have bumps all the time. Finally one morning, I'm like, must have been 2 or 3 days. I peel back his hair. He's 2 years old. I find a tick.
Oh.
I was so upset at myself that I didn't do it the first day. But you know, kids get bumps everywhere and they got hair, so you just, you don't think about it. Man, I had to pull that tick out. I was so mad at myself that I didn't check it earlier.
Yeah.
Curious about you, what's your irrational fear?
Irrational fear. Heights. Even though when you're looking out, even if it's a window, I'm inside. If I look out and it's too far down, I'm like, nope, I'm out.
I think that's a very rational fear. Dude, you're really good at this, by the way.
Thank you. The person that you call the most.
My wife.
Now, do you call her the most, or does she end up calling you more? Who?
It's pretty equal.
Okay.
It gets pretty equal.
And I know you're on the road a lot, so do you get to take her with you, or is it a lot of "Honey, I miss you"? And
so I do a Christmas tour every year, and I bring my kids and my wife, and so I brought them on 2 weeks on my last Christmas tour I did. And so it's fun. It's a lot of work. Like it's 4 kids on a bus and a wife.
Because then you're not just doing your work. Now you're in dad mode, and how do you?
Yeah, and a lot of times they want that attention and time from you, and you're parenting, and you're really exhausted by the time the show comes.
All right, let's see here. I'm gonna go. Oh, again, sometimes I feel like.
Dude, you're good at this game. Why am I struggling
This
so
one
hard?
was really smooth out, and sometimes I feel like the tower chooses what question to ask. So
That is a good point.
fill in the blank. I couldn't live a day without. And I mean, we can. Jesus, of course, right? Jesus, I couldn't live a day without.
Well, obviously, it's coffee. I mean, who double cups?
Now, are you a coffee? Would you call yourself a coffee snob?
Yes.
There was no hesitation.
My grandma's generation of drinking coffee is a lot different than my generation of drinking coffee. There was mass-produced, very dark roast, roasted dark. And so now, the generation that I'm growing up in, they've learned how to process it differently. There's a lot of flavor that comes out of a coffee bean if you don't burn it. Bottom line, just like there's a lot of flavor comes out of a steak if you don't burn it. If you burn it, you kind of get the charred flavor.
So if I were to go to a coffee shop and I want to order the Gokey, what is your go-to coffee drink order?
Usually a pour over or a cappuccino. Those are my 2 go-to. Or a drip. Go 3. That's my go 3. What do you drink?
I don't drink coffee. I know. He's judging me. You're judging me. I've tried. I've told people my life would be easier if I actually drank coffee, right? Because everyone else does, but I can't bring myself to like it. I've tried over and over again.
Okay, this number 6 is looking real nice. Look at that.
There we go.
6.
All
What do you
right,
got?
so this really is generational, I feel like. Call or text, receive.
I'm gonna age myself. I get over texting really fast. For me, I just kind of want something quick and answer quickly. And so.
Isn't that funny that the quickest text is not really, that's not as quick as a call.
No, although text can be a good tool if you don't want to talk to someone. So, then there's that.
All right, let's see here. All right, so
I'll
this
get this
might,
out
yeah,
the
you
way.
might want to move the coffee. This might not do it.
Numero uno.
I'm pulling out the Matthew West block.
No!
Oh my gosh. All right, so one more question.
Yes.
Just like when the tower falls apart here and we put it back together, what's the time that things fell apart in your life and God put it back together?
I think the one thing that many people know of, and it really was a defining moment, was when I lost my first wife. Very unexpected and very tragic. It took a lot of surrendering for me, and I think that's one thing we miss about, in this generation, we don't know how to surrender to God. Because I prayed the prayers while she was in the hospital, while she had a heart condition. We really believed God, we believed the word that, the faith can move mountains, and we had faith. And I remember being really disappointed. Like, we did what you said, you didn't come through. That was the thought. The greatest way we can express faith is through submission and humility. And a great example of that was Jesus, when he was in the garden, he prayed this prayer. He said, Father, take this cup from me. If it could be possible, you could do anything. I'm paraphrasing, but take this cup from me. But then the submission and surrender was, but nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done. And I think there's something so special about how we overcome is really initiated by how much we submit and humble ourselves under the mighty hand of God. So if anyone's going through anything, submission and humility is the greatest way we can express faith, right? You say you believe God, you say you trust God. Well, faith without works is dead. If you trust God, right, you'll do what he says over what you feel in the moment. So I think that's a great expression. That's what helped me get through it.
So just as the Matthew West block was the one that did me in, we're gonna have you sign a block.
He was number
here.
1. Did he sign number 1?
Yes, he was. So you're
typical Matthew West, buddy. Number 1, huh?
So you're the third person to successfully conquer the Tower of Truth.
And like I said, how is number 3 always my number, Lord?
There you go, man. Thank you.